coming this fall. You will notice an eerie greenish glow. Your heart will beat faster. Your palms start to sweat. Suddenly, you know they are among us. It's the all-new movie, Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, coming fall 2000. It's just the beginning.
Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. It was the first film to shake up the core team, with Leopold leaving and being replaced by writer Falk, who had acted as a model supervisor in the first two films. Now, speculation on my end, but I feel like the tense situation of Witch's ghost probably played a role here, which is ironic because the team reports that pressure actually eased up considerably for Alien Invaders. Still, the change is definitely felt. I even get the vibe that Leopold might have been the main one pushing for those scarier, more mature elements, as neutered as they had become in Witch's Ghost. Still, Alien Invaders is not a bad film. After the last two gothic homages, it's cool to see this production team tackle the conspiracy, X-Files-like genre the franchise had never really gone into, but which fits it like a glove. The films are getting lighter and lighter as they go on though, culminating in the next film, Cyber Chase, which drops the effort entirely. Which is funny, because more than the others, Alien Invaders is for some reason advertised like it's a straight up horror. Now, if Zombie Island was Daphne's film and Witch's Ghost Velma's film, then Alien Invasion is definitely Shaggy and Scooby's. You don't get a film, Fred! Now already that sets up the film for some problems. While the faces of the franchise, Scooby and Shaggy are the comic relief. The story is traditionally driven or focused on one of the other three. It's perfectly possible to focus on comic relief in narratives, it's been done before, especially if the goal is to reveal depth you didn't initially know was there, but it is harder.
Look away, Daphne. We all promised each other that we would never speak of him. Not ever.
Hurdles of getting invested in them beyond jokes, in them not wearing out their welcome with more screen time, the usual stuff. Monsters Unleashed of all films was surprisingly almost able to pull this off. Kinda. They really shouldn't have cut this scene.
You think we're gonna make it, Scoop?
No.
Me neither.
In any case, we start this time in the middle of the Nevada desert. Instead of the usual slow build approach to setting the tone, we start extremely abruptly with the gang suddenly ambushed by a UFO. You can't say they're wasting time. I really enjoy the design of the spaceship. The sci-fi elements in general are not really a style I see often. Echoes of Mook's time with the Men in Black series shining through here. And we still have that cozy element of Americana road trips, seeing the gang sleep in the van and the use of jackalopes to build on local mythology. I'm also a sucker for old school alien sound design. If you've got a theremin, then I'm on your dick faster than Sonic Deep Throat in the Chili Dog. I told you I'd say it. Shaken up and in denial, the gang take refuge in a small desert town. Talking with the locals, they're told tales of aliens that have been harassing the civilians and the local government research station nearby called South, which I'm choosing not to believe is an Alf reference.
Remember Alf? He's back! In pod form.
So around this point you can appreciate how elastic Scooby is this time. They've amped it up for the physical comedy, and I really like this joke.
Do you have any proof that you were abducted?
Yep, I got pictures.
Oh, paintings.
So you really feel how the tone's lighter than ever before, but not jarringly so. It's not as eerie and unwelcoming as the Bayou, nor does it have that dark history bubbling up, but it's replaced with the more lonely and wondrous vibe that can be elicited when you're in the desert by yourself at night.
It's pretty groovy up here.
Oh. Yep, it's nice, ain't it?
While resting up, Shaggy and Scooby are actually abducted by aliens and experimented on in a scene that actually does start kinda creepy. But right away, here is one of the major issues. We're 15 minutes in, and you've probably already figured out who these aliens are. After a long night of having their crystal coves zoinked.
Watch me swing right in!
The pair wake up in the middle of the desert by a travelling hippie photographer and her dog. With the mystery part of the film being very condensed, here's where the real meat of the story actually lies. The budding romance Shaggy and Scooby develop with these two. While it's very typical ground we're covering, it's nice to see Shaggy humanised in this way. As I said, you really need to explore some further sides of a character if you're gonna make the walking punchline succeed as a lead. And while we're kinda doing the bare minimum here, it's still sweet to see this almost childlike approach to romance they both have. But for music, after 4 actual bangers in the first 2 films, Alien Invaders drops the ball. The first one is unbearable cheese personified.
And in an instant I knew everything would be groovy.
But with Crystal's design itself being a throwback to the show's original time period, animating this whole fantasy in a style reminiscent of 60s animation was a really nice touch. While the film series is starting to feel like it's running out of steam, it still has a lot of heart put into it from the staff, and it's coming through. The gang reunite and have a quick catch-up.
Who salts pancakes? Fred, you absolute psychopath.
They share their story, but of course, even though the gang have seen zombies, furries, witches, ghosts, and an actual UFO yesterday, they don't believe them. Besides, they're more interested in the crush these two have developed.
I'm a dog lover.
As per usual, the gang decide to split up and look for clues, with Fred, Daphne and Velma going over to South, while Shaggy and Scooby go off simping into the desert. Animation-wise, the film is as strong as the others, but I feel they really step up the vistas in the background. Some of these are actually really beautiful, and there wasn't a small chance that the film would look considerably more dull than the last 2, being set in the desert and all, but it's the best looking one. And it's actually a shame that the mystery is so obvious, as the film continues Witch's Ghost's focus on detective work. With more viable suspects, this could have been the best mystery of the 3. Back in the valley, Crystal reveals that she is the weirdest dressed government agent there's ever been. They are interrupted by 2 government officials who tell them to leave.
I was wondering, if you had a boyfriend?
As a matter of fact, I don't.
Oh, good.
Upon inspecting the area more closely, they find a series of tunnels with a lot of digging equipment. Cue one more chase sequence, although the song this time is super weird. Kinda like a Ninja Turtle made a soft rock song about aliens. A bit of a step down from Sky Cycle and Heck Girls. Speaking of stepping down...
So, you figured it out, huh?
Wasn't hard.
No shit. The aliens are finally revealed to be the members of South this whole time. Turns out they had found gold in these caves, and they were trying to scare people off from finding it. AKA the plot Zombie Island used as misdirection. I would have thought staging a hoax in order to continue their funding would have been more appropriate, but what are you gonna do? They started all of the alien stuff to hide the noise of them digging, which also feels like trying to put out a fire by setting off a volcano. Looking at all 3, we've gone from a truly left-turn reveal to a surprising third act tonal shift to just... yeah, I mean, who else would it have been? The fact there are 3 aliens alone rules out the car mechanic and Crystal. The fresh energy we started with is unfortunately just about used up now. However, we're not quite done yet. Like before, we have one last twist, as Shaggy's girlfriend turns out to be... It comes a little too late in the game, though there are some actually subtle hints throughout the film. The twist of the monster being real after the fakes are unmasked is repeated from Witch's Ghost, but the consequences of this are way less impactful. With 10 minutes left, we just get a JCB fight. And then it's time for Crystal to say goodbye to Shaggy.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Come on, you big drip. Where you going?
A gelatinous, genderless blob by any other name. Right, Norville? We're definitely checking the supernatural is real box very last minute this time. The last time the animated films will actually ever do that, as Cyberchase will re-establish the Scooby-Doo loop permanently. Thanks to that help from Mulder's wet dream, the South team are all arrested and sentenced to life in prison with no trial. Wow. Okay. And we're already at the end. The gang drive off to many, many, many more adventures, and the film comes to a close. Alien Invaders has this reputation as being the first bad one. I don't think it's bad by any means though. The atmosphere is still very impressive, the animation is still solid stuff, and the gang's chemistry is as cute as ever.
That's a very brave thing to do, Scooby. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I also appreciate the pure sass Fred has this time.
Dig that, Scoob! A talking dog!
Real?
Imagine that.
She's wonderful.
Nothing personal. You just know too much.
Yeah, that's always our problem.
So yeah, it's got problems, but despite them, I think I might actually enjoy it a bit more than Witch's Ghost. What it's lacking in subtle gothicism, it's making up for it with more charm. That said, we are ending our journey on a standard, if charming, little adventure.